What is up, everybody? I'm Mike from GYLD and this is yet another market review. And before we get started, if you want to get funded up to $400,000, make sure to visit gyldtrading.com and use code GYLD20 at the checkout. Now let's get straight to the video. Alright, now let's start the review. So here we have the dollar index. Last week we were mentioning that price is coming into these levels of resistance. So last week we came back up once again and we closed bearish. So we can expect that the price will likely aim towards these areas in the upcoming days, right? As these are levels of liquidity that will eventually be targeted or should be. So the dollar index, it still remains bearish in the short term at the very least. The current price action, we would like to see this level taken out. And looking at the 4 hour, yeah, we came into the level of resistance right over here on Thursday, 2 weeks back. And last week we managed to come back up once more. We took out this high, which is where stop loss orders would be from anyone trying to short it from here or here. So we took out some liquidity over here and we went on to move lower. So currently we haven't broken anything as of right now. So possibly we would like to see this level broken right here impulsively. Then we could look to catch some pullbacks, but obviously we don't know as of right now. Price could still come back up one more time and we would need a break of structure then. So dollar remains bearish at least until we take out this low. All right. So euro dollar, this one is looking pretty good. So past week we weren't really moving much. We're pretty much in this pullback phase right here. But as you can see, the move's lower, the pullback, it's choppy, it's slow, it takes multiple candles, and then the moves up, it's like 1 or 2 candles that are pretty impulsive, right? So this is a very good sign if we are to see some bullish movements. And we can see that we took out a level of liquidity right here, the previous low, and we came into some levels of support over here. So generally, this is our current range, right? This is our current trading range, and we would like to be buyers around these levels. And we are aiming to target this previous high, right? So if we take a look at the 4 hour, this is looking pretty good because here you can see that we took out this level. Now, what would this mean is that anyone looking to short this as a breakout trade, they would be getting in here. And then people who consider this a real break of structure will be looking to sell here, right? Because we have some level of support or I mean resistance here. So there's a lot of trapped sellers over here and we do have some levels of support here. So depending on how price opens on Monday, we could be looking to take some longs from these areas over here. But obviously there's still the possibility that price just goes lower and we would have to wait for some setup over there, as this is also a very clean level that could be targeted in the future. But overall, euro dollar, we are looking at bullish moves up to this high at least. Right, next we have pound dollar. Now pound dollar, it's not really looking good, at least compared to the euro dollar, because we're not getting any pullback. Instead of pulling back, price just kept chopping its way up. Very slow, very choppy, very indecisive, lots of wicks. This is not good and we wouldn't recommend trading this, at least not from this perspective, from this time frame. If we look at the 4 hour, yeah, there's nothing much going on. We have a move up and then chop, 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 chop. Then we have a slow move up, or not too slow, but you know, it takes multiple candles and it's not big moves. And then we got all that recovered. So currently we're kind of in this consolidation and this would be just a spike on a higher time frame. And it's not looking too good, right? Even on the daily. So we recommend you stick to the euro dollar for the time being, right? Next up we have gold. Gold hasn't really done anything. We just spent the week in this little consolidation over here, which would be more pronounced on the 4 hour, as you can see. So currently it seems that the lower time frame is, as we discussed, we would like to see this level taken out over here before we can buy again. So on the 4 hour, it looks like, you know, price reversed. We have a break of structure over here, and this is a pullback. So from a short-term perspective, you could be looking to sell, as this is a big impulsive move down, so it definitely matters. But currently, would need to see something like a break of structure here, and then a pullback into levels of resistance so we can take it lower, right? Or what would be even better probably is if we get price above these highs over here, and then we get some lower time frame break of structure so we can take it lower, right? But overall, the higher time frame picture remains wait for a pullback before we can buy, unless something drastic happens and something changes, right? So levels like these would be brilliant to buy from, but that's gonna take some time, so that's about it. Okay, Bitcoin, similar story, not much action. We haven't had much action, and that's also due to the fact that we have NFP next week, so the markets are likely waiting for that before a significant move happens. So we're currently consolidating around these levels of support, and we still aim to take out the previous high at the very least. So we are currently sitting at some nice levels of support, and maybe on the lower time frame, if we get something like this, you know, some move down and then an impulsive move up, or just a straight up impulsive move up, we could be looking to trade the pullbacks and take it at to the previous high over here. All right. Next up, we have the S&P 500. So we are currently at the all-time highs, and we pulled back below the previous high right here. We pulled back below, and we closed back up, right? We came back up right away. So this is a similar story to the trapped sellers we discussed, right? So people who see this impulsive move, they're like, oh, this has to be the top. So they're gonna sell the breakout over here. They're gonna sell the pullback over here. And whilst it might very well just move lower, it's still very, very early to catch any shorts, as that would be just trying to catch the top, which is never advised, right? So looking at the 4 hour, yeah, you can see that we have an impulsive move down here with a nice pullback. This could be traded, but it is a counter trend trade to the higher time frame, so you should be advised. This is pretty risky as it's coming off the lower time frames, but nevertheless we had a nice move up which trapped buyers, you know, break out, so they would be buying, and then the pullback they would be buying, but what we got instead is a move down, a pullback, another move down, which would entice a lot of people to sell because, you know, it's very high, it's at all-time high. It can't keep going higher, right? But it can. So we went down, and then we got a nice impulsive move up, back above the previous high. So we will see how the price opens, but if we get some pullbacks, slow, choppy pullbacks lower, we could be looking to buy from some of these zones of support. Other than that, there's not too much going on, not too much info we got on the daily. We still need to see more candles, but the previous high over here, the all-time high, that's a reasonable target for price. Okay, and here we have the NASDAQ. So similar story, we are at all-time high. We came back at the level of support, the previous high, and we rejected. You can see that we have a very, it looks like an indecisive candle, but it's actually bullish as we came down, and then we got a big move up, and you can see it's a bullish candle. So I like this one a little bit more compared to the US 500 or the S&P, because with the S&P, this is a minor difference and it might not matter as much. But what I like is that the S&P, you know, it came down and then it came back up, but it closed below during one candle, right? If we pull it up right now, you can see that we closed below the previous high, right? On the NASDAQ, however, we came back down and we rejected right away in a single candle. which is showing us that the NASDAQ is a little bit stronger compared to the S&P, and therefore any longs on this might be better or higher probability and more clean moves compared to the S&P, right? On the 4-hour, we don't really have anything going on as of right now. We have just the rejection. We haven't broken anything, but if we get back above this high on Monday, Tuesday, or whatever, this could be a decent opportunity to buy it from these levels of support, for example. All right, now that's about it for the charts, guys. And let's take a look at the economic events for the upcoming week. All right, we're currently at investing.com looking at the economic calendar for the upcoming week. So as mentioned, this is NFP week. So best course of action is probably to focus on the first few days of the week and be done by Wednesday or Thursday, as the NFP is going to be, or it tends to be very, choppy. It takes out both sides of the market and it's very indecisive before the release. And after the release, we get usually we get a major move and we get a directional move that we can use in the upcoming days. But for this week, focus on Monday through Wednesday if possible. And let's start with the Monday. So we have a holiday for the New Zealand, which is going to affect the Asian session and the Kiwi. However, considering it's Monday, the Asian session, it's not too important, I believe. So besides that, we have some medium impact news for the London session, not expecting much. And we have quite a bit of news for the dollar during New York session. So we have ISM manufacturing PMI and a few news for the dollar, which could be good. So Monday, New York session definitely should be good. On Tuesday, we have medium impact news for the euros. Nothing major here. We have job openings for the dollar during the New York session. So Tuesday, it should be, or it could be, a very good day for intraday trading, right? On Wednesday, we have some medium impact news for the euros. Once again, nothing major for the London session. We have some pound news, medium impact. And then we have ADP non-farm employment change for the dollar. So that's going to be high impact news, which is going to be good for the dollar, or not good as in positive, but good as in it should move. And we also have global services PMI and then Bank of Canada interest rate decision. So those of you trading the CAD, be aware of this news, as that's going to be very high impact news and it's going to move the CAD especially a lot. And we also have some news for the further news for the US dollar. So Wednesday is going to be very packed with action, focused especially on the Canadian dollar. We also have crude oil inventories later in the day, which also affects the Canadian dollar, as Canada is a big exporter of oil. Okay, moving on, we have Thursday. On Thursday, we are going to have the European Central Bank interest rate decision. So we have the interest rates for the euro on Thursday. We have the CAD for Wednesday. And that's going to be a big mover for the euro. So those of you watching the euro pairs, you should be aware of the Thursday news. And it's best, or it's recommended, not to trade the release, but rather wait for it to give you the direction. And we also have some news for the dollar. We have initial jobless claims, which is major news. So Thursday also should be packed with action, but considering there's interest rate decisions and there's also the NFP, it's advised to be very careful, especially in the later days of the week. All right, and on Friday we have a lot of medium impact news, some GDP, and so on and so forth. And then the most important news of the week is going to be the non-farm payrolls on Friday, New York session. So NFP is going to be very important. However, it's likely to be choppy and take out both sides of the market. So we do not recommend you trade the NFP at least not the release. All right. And then to finish the day off and the week off, we have the unemployment rate, also with the non-farm payrolls, obviously. So that's about it for the upcoming week, guys. We wish you good luck, and I will see you guys next week. Cheers.